Let's stop pretending. In today's dating world, the more you invest emotionally in a woman, the quicker she pulls away. You show loyalty, support, and emotional presence. She drifts. You offer stability, affection, and honesty. She loses interest. But the man who doesn't chase her, doesn't flatter her, doesn't need her to validate him, he's the one she can't stop thinking about. She's drawn in, not by love, but by lack of control. And as harsh as it sounds, that's the unfiltered truth. This isn't about being manipulative. It's about understanding female psychology in an age where attention is currency, and she's rich in it. From likes to messages to endless options, modern women are overwhelmed. So what breaks through the noise? Not the guy who tries harder, not the one who over-explains, over-texts, or overgives, but the one who remains still, the man who isn't fazed, the man who doesn't orbit around her emotions. That man becomes rare, because mystery holds value and indifference creates mystery. When you don't drop everything for her, she starts to question. When you don't react to her mood swings, she wonders what's going on inside you. When you stay grounded, she starts chasing the stability she can't shake. This video isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming your power as a man by no longer giving it away. You're about to learn how to make a woman feel your energy without saying a single word. How to become unforgettable by doing less, not more. What follows are 7 brutal truths that expose a paradox few men understand. Women are most attracted to the men they can't fully reach. Comment below. Have you ever pulled back from a woman and suddenly noticed she got more interested? Let's talk about it. 1. Stop showing all you're feeling. Most men make one mistake. Early on, they reveal too much, too soon. They believe emotional openness equals connection. That sharing every thought, every feeling, every desire will bring her closer. But it doesn't. It creates the opposite effect. When you constantly wear your heart on your sleeve, you become predictable. When she knows how you feel every second of the day, there's nothing left to wonder about. And when there's no mystery, there's no desire. You see, women aren't repelled by emotion itself. They're repelled by the lack of control behind it. True emotional strength isn't dumping your feelings at her feet. It's knowing when to share and when to remain centered. A man who feels deeply but speaks selectively, that man becomes magnetic. You don't have to text her how much you miss her the second that thought enters your mind. You don't have to pour out your soul just because you're feeling uncertain. You don't need to write an essay when she replies with a single word. And you definitely don't need to over-explain your emotions, hoping she'll understand you better. Because she won't respect the flood. She'll respect the dam that holds it back. In a world where most men are desperate to express, the man who can feel everything and say almost nothing stands out. He's not ice cold. He's composed. He doesn't suppress, he chooses, because he understands that his feelings are not entertainment. They are currency, and he spends them carefully. Let me give you an image. 2 men are talking to the same woman. One sends her messages every morning. He tells her he misses her after 2 days. He constantly reassures her with words. The other keeps his words few but intentional. He doesn't rush. He responds when it aligns with his rhythm. He's calm, steady, and never dramatic. Which one do you think she obsesses over? Not the one flooding her with affection, but the one she can't quite figure out. Why? Because the unknown activates her attention. The uncertainty builds tension, and tension, in the female mind, is attraction. This doesn't mean you fake being distant. It means you master being composed. You hold your emotions like a strong man holds a sword with precision. Not panits. When you stop offering your feelings freely, something changes. She begins to chase the pieces of you that you don't immediately hand over. And when she finally sees your emotional side, it means something, because she had to earn it. That's the key. When you protect your emotions, it's not weakness, it's self-respect. You stop handing out your vulnerability like it's a free sample. Women may say they want you to open up, but what they truly crave is the experience of unlocking you, and you rob them of that experience when you make it too easy. Emotional discipline doesn't mean being robotic. It means being wise, knowing that your value is not in how loudly you feel, but in how deeply you can feel without needing applause. So, if you want her to see you as rare, don't be the man who always tells her how he feels. Be the man who makes her feel something and leaves the rest unsaid. 2. Choose purpose over her. A man loses his power the moment he trades his purpose for a woman's approval. It may start small, canceling a workout, skipping a project, delaying a personal goal. But every small compromise adds up, and eventually, she feels it. Not consciously, but instinctively, the polarity shifts. Where once she admired your focus, now she questions your frame. Where once she felt pulled toward your energy, now she starts pulling away. Why? Because deep down, a woman respects the man who moves towards something greater than her. She wants to witness your ambition, feel the gravity of your mission, not become the mission. The moment she feels you orbiting around her instead of your goals, the balance tilts, and she begins to test, not because she's cruel, but because she wants to feel your spine. You must understand something vital here. Women chase the man who's already chasing something else. His craft, his vision, his legacy. That's the kind of man she can trust. Because if he's disciplined with his goals, he'll be disciplined with her heart too. But when you drop everything for her, respond instantly, cancel your grind, always available, she doesn't feel flattered. She feels your need, and need kills desire. A man who builds his life around a woman will eventually lose both the woman and the life he could have built. Let's make this real. Imagine two men. One rearranges his entire week for her. He skips gym, delays work, texts all day. He thinks this shows devotion, but to her, it screams emptiness. No center, no purpose, no edge. The other man is calm and grounded. He says, "I'll see you after my session," or "after my meeting." He's not ignoring her. He's anchored in something deeper. His life continues, with or without her presence. Which man do you think she feels more pulled toward? Not the one begging for time, the one who values his time so much. She wants to earn a place in it, because that's the truth. Women don't fall for men they can interrupt. They fall for the men they have to schedule into, men who respect their own path too much to detour. Now, this isn't about neglect. It's about prioritization. You're not choosing her or your mission. You're choosing the man you need to become so you can lead both. You don't inspire her by texting her all day. You inspire her by building a life that makes her proud to stand beside you. Purpose is magnetic. It creates presence, even when you're not in the room. And when she sees that your life doesn't bend for her, she starts adjusting her rhythm to match yours. Not because you demanded it, but because your energy says, "I'm going somewhere with or without you." And that's the man who becomes unforgettable. not because he tried to impress her, but because he never abandoned his direction just to keep her around. She'll respect that. She'll desire that, because when your mission becomes non-negotiable, your value becomes undeniable. So the next time you think about canceling your plans to see her, don't. Keep your rhythm, live your purpose, and watch her fall in love with the man who never needed to chase. 3. Never react to her games. This is where most men fall. She pulls back, takes hours to reply, flirts with other guys, goes cold without warning, and instead of holding their ground, menpanits, they chase harder. Start asking, did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me? They begin trying to fix something that was never broken. Here's the truth. She's not pulling away because you failed. She's testing because you gave too much. Too soon. Too easily. You were too available. Too predictable. Too emotionally exposed. And now, she's trying to see what you're made of. Whether she realizes it or not. Women do this often. It's not about being manipulative. It's about evaluating your emotional stability. She wants to know, can he handle emotional tension, or will he collapse the second I step back? And when you react, when you chase, you answer her question. You show her that her moods control your masculinity. You show her she has power over you. That's when she loses interest. Not because you said something wrong, but because you responded out of fear, not strength. The man who remains composed, he wins. Not because he's heartless, but because he refuses to play games. He doesn't rush to reply. He doesn't demand explanations. He doesn't let her pull the strings of his emotions. Instead, he observes. He notices the shift, but doesn't flinch. He stays focused on his life, his goals, his growth, his grind. If she wants to distance herself, so be it. His world keeps moving. And that's exactly what drives her wild, because most men can't do that. Most men fold. But when she sees a man who can stand firm in silence, a man who doesn't chase validation, she starts to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Is he unbothered? Does he have someone else? Is he different? That mystery creates emotional tension. That tension becomes attraction. But here's the key. You're not doing it to manipulate her. You're doing it because you have standards. Because you refuse to play emotional ping pong. Because your time, your peace, and your energy are not negotiable. You're not ignoring her. You're refusing to entertain chaos. Let's make this real. If she waits 6 hours to text you back, don't jump the moment she replies. Respond when it fits into your flow. Not out of pettiness, but because you're not seeking her approval, you're living your life. You're not available on demand, like a vending machine. And when she notices that, when she realizes her silence doesn't shake you, she becomes more interested, because now she has to earn back your focus. Women admire a man who stays calm when others would crumble. When you don't react, you shift the power dynamic. She begins to feel what most women never feel. Maybe I need to prove something to him. And that thought alone changes everything. It's not about ignoring disrespect. It's about knowing the difference between a test and a violation. You don't react to tests. You respond with grounded presence. You don't beg. You don't plead. You lead. So next time she pulls away, don't pull her back. Stand still. Let her come to you. That silence, that calm energy, it speaks louder than any emotional outburst ever could. That's how real men respond. With stillness, with strength, with unshakable focus. 4. Don't always make plans. One of the biggest mistakes a man can make in dating is always being the one to initiate, always making the plans, always sending the first text, always trying to keep the momentum alive. At first glance, it looks like leadership. After all, masculine men are proactive. But when you're constantly the one pushing things forward, it doesn't feel like leadership anymore, it feels like chasing. And the truth is, women don't chase what feels guaranteed. They chase what makes them wonder. What pulls a woman in isn't your effort alone. It's the balance between interest and space, between presence and absence. Because in today's dating world, the man who always sets the date, who always asks when she's free, who's always trying to make things happen, that man becomes predictable. And predictability kills excitement. When a woman knows exactly when you'll text, exactly when you'll call, and that you'll always plan the next thing, she stops needing to do anything. You've created a one-way interaction, and here's the harsh truth: if you're doing all the work, she's not really participating, she's just watching. You're performing, she's the audience. And eventually, no matter how good the show is, she gets bored. Now flip the script. Be the man who doesn't always initiate, not because he's playing games, but because he's genuinely centered in his own life. He has things to do, goals to focus on, a purpose that matters more than constant validation. That kind of energy is magnetic. It says, if we connect, great. If not, I'm still good. That's not arrogance. That's strength. And strength creates curiosity. She starts to wonder, why hasn't he reached out? Or is he over it? And in that wondering, her mind engages. Her emotions activate, because now she has to invest. Here's an example. You go on a date. It goes well. The next day, instead of immediately planning the next one, you stay silent. Not in a cold way, not in a passive-aggressive way, but in a grounded, calm, masculine way. You don't chase. You don't pressure. You let the experience breathe. And if she's genuinely interested, she'll feel the space you left. She'll either reach out or eagerly respond when you do. Because now, you're not giving her the next experience on a silver platter. You're letting her desire grow in the silence. You're letting mystery do the work. This doesn't mean you never take initiative. It means you don't reward minimal effort with maximum pursuit. You don't make all the effort while she just shows up. You create space for her to contribute. That's how relationships become mutual. And mutuality is attractive. The man who lets her come to him isn't passive. He's strategic. He understands that energy must flow both ways. If she wants your time, she needs to show she values it. Not just wait for you to set the tempo. You're not an entertainer. You're not her convenience. You're a man with a full life, and if she wants to be part of it, she'll have to meet you halfway. So next time you feel the urge to push things forward again, don't hold back. Let her move toward you. Because the men she respects most are the ones she had to lean into, not the ones who always leaned first. 5. Be willing to walk away. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men ignore. A woman respects you the most when she knows you'll walk away if necessary. Not because you're being cold, not because you're playing a game, but because your self-worth isn't dependent on her presence. Most men live in fear of losing a woman, so they tolerate disrespect. They accept inconsistency. They ignore the gut feelings that scream, "This isn't right," and every time they stay when they should walk. their value diminishes in her eyes. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If you keep showing up for someone who keeps pulling away, you're not proving loyalty. You're proving a lack of standards. Women sense this. They may not say it aloud, but they feel it. And that feeling, it kills attraction. When you're too afraid to lose her, she begins to test you more. She becomes colder, more distant. She delays her replies. She gets passive-aggressive. And you, driven by fear, chase harder. You ask what's wrong. You over-explain. You try to fix the vibe. You start walking on eggshells. And without realizing it, you hand her all the power. But here's where the shift happens. A high-value man doesn't react with anxiety. He doesn't try to win her back. He doesn't beg for connection. He withdraws, silently, powerfully, without drama. Not to punish her, but to protect his peace. This kind of silence is louder than any emotional outburst. It says, I value myself enough to walk when I'm not respected, if I'm not met with the same energy. I won't fight for scraps. It's not that I don't care. It's that I care too much to stay somewhere I'm not valued. Picture this. She's pulling away. She's acting different. She's testing you. And instead of panicking, you lean back. You let her come to her own realization without trying to control it. And that, my friend, shakes her world. Why? Because most men tolerate the disrespect and stay. They lose themselves trying to win her back. But you were willing to leave. And that unpredictability, that willingness to disappear if needed, is what resets the dynamic. It makes her question herself. It makes her see you differently. It creates space for her to reflect and chase. This doesn't mean ghosting her every time she's emotional. It doesn't mean abandoning someone over small disagreements. It means you have non-negotiable boundaries. It means that when she crosses the line, you don't explain yourself. You exit with calm clarity. And that exit earns more respect than 1,000 love letters ever could. Even in long-term relationships, this principle holds true. If a woman knows you're not afraid to be alone, that you're not emotionally dependent, she stays alert, engaged, and respectful. She realizes you're there because you choose to be, not because you need to be. And in that space of free will, love breathes better. So here's the key. Don't threaten her with, I'll leave. Show her with your silence. Don't demand respect. Command it with your absence. Because when you're not afraid to walk away, you become the prize. Not in words, but in energy, action, and certainty. Now, let me ask you, have you ever stayed too long in a situation where you should have walked away? Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. Your story might help another man reclaim his power. 6. Never be too available. Let's talk about one of the most silent killers of attraction, being too available. In today's hyper-connected dating world, where messages fly and attention is cheap, the man who is always reachable quickly becomes forgettable. If you're the guy who texts back within seconds, always answers the phone, rearranges his life the moment she asks what you think is commitment, she reads as desperation. And here's the truth, most men never realize. What a woman can fully control, she cannot deeply desire. When there's no suspense, no edge, no distance, attraction fades. It's not because she's ungrateful. It's because mystery fuels emotional engagement. And when you give her all your time without requiring anything in return, you erase the very tension that makes her want you. Let's break this down in simple terms. She texts, "What are you doing?" You answer instantly, "Just chilling." What she hears is, "I'm doing nothing. I have new direction. You are the most exciting thing in my world right now." You pick up the phone no matter the hour. Even at 2 a.m. You're always ready to hang out. Even when she gives no notice. You cancel your gym session, ignore your friends, delay your work, all to prove you're there for her. But in reality, you're training her to see you as a backup plan. You're not a challenge, you're a certainty, and certainty, without value attached, becomes boring. Now, imagine a man who doesn't respond instantly, not because he's playing games, but because he's living. He has goals. He has structure. He has things to do. He'll respond when he has the time, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. She texts, and there's a pause. She calls, and sometimes it goes to voicemail. He doesn't cancel his mission for a spontaneous meetup. She needs to schedule into his world. At first, this confuses her. Then it challenges her. Then it pulls her in. Why? Because unpredictability triggers desire. Scarcity creates value. And emotional investment increases when effort is required. This isn't about being rude. This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about showing her that your attention has value, and that value must be earned. If a woman can have unlimited access to your time, validation, and energy without offering effort, consistency, or respect, she will never truly appreciate it. Think about this in practical terms. If someone handed you a luxury watch for free, you might wear it a few times, but it won't mean much. Now, imagine you worked, saved, and sacrificed for that same watch suddenly. It holds weight. It matters. Why? Because value is born from investment. That's how women perceive your time. If you're always giving it away, it seems cheap, even if your intentions are pure. But when you make her work for it, when you show that your world doesn't revolve around her, she'll start leaning in. She'll respect it. She'll want more of it. So stop thinking being available is the key to connection. It's not. Real connection comes when your time feels earned. When she feels lucky to have access, not entitled to it. Don't be the man who's always there. Be the man who's building something bigger than her. Be the man whose presence must be respected, not assumed. Because when you finally do give her your time, it won't be just another text, another call, another meetup. It'll feel rare. It'll feel earned. And that feeling, that's what keeps her chasing. 7. Detach from outcomes. One of the most liberating shifts a man can make in his dating life is learning to let go completely of the outcome. That means not checking your phone obsessively, not trying to decode every emoji or delay between texts, not basing your self-worth on whether she chooses you or not. When you detach from the outcome, you stop chasing control. You stop performing for approval. And in doing so, you become the very man she finds hardest to forget. Because let's be honest, most men are not dating. They're auditioning. They rehearse every text message. They overanalyze every silence. They obsess over how to say the right thing to win her over. But here's the cold truth. That energy is transparent. Women can feel it immediately. It doesn't come across as confidence. It feels like desperation. And desperation is the fastest way to kill desire. What she truly craves, though she may never say, it is a man who doesn't need her to feel whole. A man who moves through life centered, present, and unattached. Let me be clear, detachment is not apathy. It's not coldness or arrogance. It's inner control. It's emotional power. It's the ability to stay grounded whether she texts you back or ghosts you for a week. You're not rattled. You're not reactive. Because your identity doesn't revolve around her opinion of you. She smiles. Great. She cancels plans. You're unbothered. She disappears. So be it. Not because you don't care, but because you care more about staying in your masculine frame than chasing after validation. Let's take a real-world example. You text her. She doesn't reply. The attached man spirals. He sends another message. He starts wondering, did I say something wrong? He feels rejection, even if none was actually given. But the detached man, he shrugs and moves forward. He assumes she's busy, distracted, or maybe not interested. And either way, it's fine. Because he doesn't chase closure, he lives in clarity. And that calm energy, that grounded silence, it creates emotional gravity. She begins to wonder, why hasn't he double texted? Why isn't he trying harder? Why isn't he bothered? That curiosity becomes tension. And tension becomes attraction. Because here's the paradox no one tells you: when a woman senses that her attention is not the center of your universe, she starts trying to earn your attention. Your unpredictability is power. Your calm detachment is presence. And your silence says more than any speech ever could. It says, I don't chase. I attract what aligns. I'm not trying to make you choose me. I'm choosing myself. Women are not drawn to need. They're drawn to men who don't need them, but choose them when it's right. So detach. Not to punish her. Not to manipulate her, but to reclaim yourself. Stop fighting for an outcome. Stop needing her to behave a certain way for you to feel okay. Stop tying your identity to her validation. When you detach, you create space. Space for her to move toward you. Space for your own power to rise. Space for authentic connection, not performative chasing. So the next time she delays her reply, takes a step back, or plays hot and cold, don't lean in. Lean back. Let her feel the shift. Let her wonder why you're not chasing. Let her experience what it's like to miss a man who's too grounded to beg. This isn't about ego. It's about energy. And the moment she realizes that her approval no longer defines your self-worth, that's the moment she begins to respect you, desire you, and chase you. So tell me in the comments below, are you ready to detach and reclaim your power? In the end, it's not about being cold or distant. It's about being grounded in who you are. Because the man who doesn't chase, who doesn't overgive, who doesn't need constant validation, he becomes rare. He becomes unforgettable. Not because he tries to be, but because he doesn't need to be chosen to feel valuable. Let others fight for attention. You stay focused. You stay detached. You stay powerful. That's the kind of man women remember long after you've walked away. And if this message hit home for you, if you're ready to stop being reactive and start leading with calm strength, hit that like button to show you're with us. Subscribe to the Stoic Spirit and turn on the bell, so you never miss content that keeps you grounded, sharp, and unshakable. Until next time, walk with calm, lead with silence.